Hello, welcome to Success in Business. We are a panel of experts in our field, and we're here to share our wisdom with you. Today, our topic is energy management, and we're going to take a few minutes to introduce ourselves. Angelina, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Angelina, and I do taxes and I do accounting, and I do all of that in the lovely Hawaii state. So happy to be here with you guys to talk about energy management.
Yes, welcome. And Karina.
Hi, everyone. Happy Saturday. My name is Karina. I'm the founder and the senior managing partner of the Benz Investment Group. And we focus on working with investors and the client who want to build their portfolio and generate cash flow in real estate. So we help them either buy houses and flip them and generate cash flow and instant cash flow, or buy and hold in order to build their portfolio for a long run. And I'm located in the sunny, beautiful South Florida, specifically Miami, but we cover the whole coast of Florida. And
Wow.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We're so glad you're here. And I'm Stacy McPherson, and I'm co-founder of Happy Life Results. And I am a business coach. So I help you get results in all areas of your life and focused mainly on your finances, but also in a way that doesn't sabotage the rest of your life, keeps your health intact, keeps your relationships intact. And I can do this from experience because I've been married more than 30 years and almost 30 years. This December, it will be 30 years. And I have 7 beautiful, thriving children and had the opportunity to raise them internationally through different, all over the world. So I've been able to have those relationships, take very good care of my health. I'm close to 50 years old and get mistaken for a 20-year-old, partly because I'm so energetic and willing to laugh at myself, but it's a fabulous journey. So I'm just happy to be here, and we can start in with our topic. We'll turn the time over to you, Karina.
Thank you, Stacy. That again, all the topics that we have been talking about as entrepreneurs are all major and all has their own importance in life. But energy management is one of the top. I would give it that ranking. Energy management, when I started my journey, and then I worked with my business coach, JT Fox, I understood one of my flosses, it was time management. As an entrepreneur, when you try to do everything and you please everyone and do everything at the same time on the back house, correct? And then he brought that subject to me. He said, it's not the time management that I have to teach you on, is the energy management, how you manage your energy when you're on your highest peak. What are the subjects that you start prioritizing, and then you go down the rank or the funnel. So it's all about priority. That's how I call energy management in my industry. When I wake up in the morning and I'm so fresh and ready to take on the world after my exercise, I absolutely tackle the most important subject in the transaction that I'm dealing with, because that's something will absolutely facilitate and close the transaction. And from there, I will move into new business because I'm still in that spirit and have that high energy to really be at service. And at the end of the day, I have assistants who manage that with me as well. But at the end of the day, I only do marketing, or I do simple, if I have to attend an event or go to see a property, there is not that much energy. It's mostly physical that you show up, but the energy is your mental thinking that you have to be sharp at and taking decision very fast and accurate for you and for your client. So that's how I learned it from him. It's energy, how much you decide to spend on that subject, how much energy you're willing to give it, how much effort not even effort, energy, how much focus you're willing to give it. And that's how priority for me work on. So it's an amazing subject. And as entrepreneurs, energy is everything, even in our personal life. You have to keep the energy high, and you have to know what works best for you and how you prioritize your life. For me, exercising keep my energy of my mental very high. So once I get that, then I can produce and execute and keep the management, the energy under control. So that's really my intake on it.
Wow. And I know you go running in your sunny Florida and every morning. It's amazing. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I love that. Okay, I'll go next. So I have thought a lot about this. It's actually something that I have written in my book, Happy Life Results. I have a whole section about energy management, and it's very fascinating. So one of the ways that I help people understand where you get your energy from, it's you have your basic things that already make sense, right? You have, your sleep and your food intake and your exercise and things like that. But there's also a huge element, and that is how your brain is kind of allows you have an energy budget, and your brain will allow you a certain amount of energy for the task. And so sometimes you have a task at hand and you feel like you just have no energy for it. And then other times you feel like you have a lot of energy. And so one of the things to look at is not just the physical aspects, but also the mental, the emotional, and the what you bring to the task, because it's not the task necessarily that makes you drained. It's your approach. And you touched on this, Karina, and I really appreciate that. It's so true. Like our mental capacity is very much influenced, and our energy levels very much influenced by what we're thinking and feeling. And so I like to think of it as that we have this energy budget, right? And we have the brain is used to giving a certain amount of energy to everything. And it will give more energy to different tasks and less energy to different other tasks. And the way that I like to look at it is kind of like play versus work. When you are playing, you have all the energy you need. Like you're not like looking at the time and being like, oh, I'm so tired, I want to end this. But if it's something that's fun and enjoyable, you just have the energy. It's right there. You're so excited. It's like all of these resources. It's almost like your brain gives you a blank check of energy resources if you're enjoying yourself. But if you're not, if it feels like work and drudgery and you just what I'm talking about, like certain tasks we approach that way, it makes it so that we don't have access to that energy. The brain actually is restricting the energy you're allowed for the task by the way that you approach it. And some people would think, okay, so let's look at this example. If let's say someone's fun activity is playing chess, and it requires all of this brain intense focus, but they're loving it, right? So what does their brain do? Opens the floodgates. You have as much energy as you need for this task because of the way you're approaching it. But that same person maybe really doesn't like doing outdoor sports. And so they start doing the outdoor sports and instantly they're just exhausted, partially because maybe they're not consistently doing exercise, but also because their mental attitude toward it makes it so that the brain will restrict the energy available. And so it's for that person, chess gets a blank check, and then running outside and playing with the ball doesn't. And so that's one example. And then so you may think, oh, well, it's just the people, that person, that for them that's play and for them that's work. And so, but then let's also look at individuals throughout your lifespan. So like, for example, a child who has to play the piano every day, and the mom just, demands it and says, you can't go out to play until you finish. And the child's just sits there and it's just painful, right? The child has no energy to do this task because of the way they're approaching it. Their brain is restricting the energy. But then over time, as the child maybe gets better at piano and has a better relationship with piano, can start to enjoy it and then have all of this energy. So that's one person changing over time. And then the opposite can be true. Has anyone had a hobby where they at first just absolutely love doing it, and then they were like, okay, I love doing this, I'm good at it, let me monetize it. And then they turned it into work, and then they restricted their energy, and then it was no longer fun and energizing anymore. And so the point I'm trying to get at that's very powerful and has really changed my life is that nothing is inherently work or inherently play. It's the way that you approach it that makes it so that you have those energy resources or you don't. And so what I've done is I've proactively changed things in my life that felt like work and drudgery and just changed them. So I've experimented on myself, but I've also experimented on my children, lucky them. And we actually had a family. So I decided to take this idea of changing something that's work into play and opening those energy floodgates with housework. So I did it for myself and I did it for my 7 children. So what we did, and I'll give you some contrast here. So the first 16 years of my mothering, we did household chores, and all of it hinged on me being the bad guy, me being the policeman. So I had to like chase the kids down and remind them to do their chores. We had an elaborate system where they had rewards and punishments, and we had meetings every Sunday to be able to kind of iron things out, you know, all of these very specific rules, but all of the rules pretty much landed on my lap for me to enforce. And I didn't like it, and the kids didn't like it, and housework was just work, and nobody expanded their energy budget because it was work. It was something it felt like it was inherently not fun. So what I'm here to say is something can feel like work. It feels like it inherently makes me not have energy to do it, and I don't want to do it, but you can change it. And so we had this experiment where we completely changed it in our family. It started with me. I set the example where I brought fun, I brought energy, I brought delight to cleaning the house. So I brought that to the experience for myself, and then set that example, and then had the children join in. And so what we had is 6 main things that we did differently that made it so that it was just so much easier to approach. And then but the point isn't so much that we changed the stuff. It's not so much that we changed the structure of it. It was more we changed our internal feeling about housework. And so I can share with you the areas that we changed just because I think they would benefit all families. But the main point that I'm driving home is that we changed our minds. That's the main thing. We changed our minds. And sometimes it's challenging to change your mind if you have a view that's just been there all of your life. Like, chores aren't fun. Like, that's a pretty common view for kids. Like, and actually moms, you know, a sink full of dirty dishes is just not fun. It feels like the task makes you feel like you don't have the energy to do it. And it just feels like hard work, right? And so the difference between hard work and play is how much energy you have access that your brain allows you. Like, to me, that's a very simple definition. Because when you have all the energy you need, then what do you feel? You feel energized. And if you don't have the energy, you feel like it's hard work. It's just, you have to use willpower and motivation that you just have to get past it, that kind of feeling. And so with the housework, so some of the things we changed is that we had a big family meeting, and we were like, what does everyone like to do? Because there are things people actually like doing. Like, one of my sons is like, hey, I really like taking out the trash, because then I go outside and it's, you know, it's nice. You know, I get to have fresh air. I like to go outside. And so one of my sons was like, I actually like doing the garbage. And then another son was like, you know, I like doing the dishwasher. Like, I like taking those clean dishes and organizing all the cupboards. And then my daughter loved organizing the fridge. Just before we would get groceries, she would empty the fridge, make it all organized, make room for the next week's worth of groceries. And so it's crazy, right? Like, kids, if you as their parent approach something as work, then the kids learn from you. And so when I changed myself and approached it as something enjoyable and fun, then the kids changed. And so we let them do the tasks they enjoyed. Another question we asked them is, what do you care about being clean? Some kids, they could care less if something's clean. Like, it doesn't matter to them in the least. But other areas, they actually care about. They're like, you know, I really like this space to be clean. So we interviewed each of the kids who found out what was important to them. And then we had them do that. We were like, well, would you be willing to take over that assignment? Because it matters to you. You care about it. And they're like, yeah, like, I don't want to cook on a stove that's dirty, so I will clean the stove. And so we did this. We had most of our bases covered, but then the few things that weren't covered, we instigated a family cleaning time. And so we just set the timer, and you wouldn't believe, we only did 15 minutes. We did deep clean 15 minutes Saturday, and we would set the timer. And then, of course, we do have a lot of people. So 6 children and one of my son's fiancés, and we all would just clean as fast as we could. And it was unbelievable what we could get done. And then that camaraderie and fun and, you know, kind of a competitive spirit, like how fast can you clean your bathroom? And so we would literally whirlwind and clean everything that wasn't done on a daily basis. We would clean on that 15-minute time frame. And you can do anything for 15 minutes. It's very short. Yeah. And so then another big thing we did is just anything that involves you take care of your own laundry, your own dishes, your own spaces. Whenever you come into a room, just when you leave, make sure it's the same as when you came in. You just take all of your belongings with you. And because it was done in a fun, good-natured kind of, and mom wasn't like, I completely got rid of my rewards and discipline, guys. I completely got rid of, we were doing such an elaborate system where all of it was kept track of, and then they were rewarded and disciplined for every task they did. We didn't do any of that. Like there was even no following up, no, oh, you didn't do your job this week. None of that. It was just what I called it at the end was I called it my magical self-cleaning house. It was like,
I love
my
that.
gosh.
I want one of those.
Yes. So it was my experiment. I did this purposefully to see if I could take something that felt like work and make it turn into play, and then taught my children. And so I've used this on all of my clients, all of my business clients, because one of the things that hold us back are those activities, those high leverage activities that we need to be doing that feel like work, and we don't do them enough. And so I just wanted to show you that energy management is so much more than just the physical. It's so much more. And the more you can actually realize you can change from one to the other, then it's like the whole world is open to you. So thank you. We'll turn the time. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, Angelina.
Energy management. I look at my business, or just me being in business, or maybe even just me walking, like it's a sport and I'm the athlete, you know, and the only commodities that I have to take care of is my time, my energy, and my brain power, right? Those are the three things that I need to always have at optimal position, right? Optimal strength. And so what I do for that, for energy, we talked about this at the beginning of the year, right? Which is listening to your body. Definitely you always have to listen to your body, right? That's a given. We all know what we're supposed to do for that, right? And it starts to kind of work together. Like I can't think of those three things separately. I have to think of those three things working in parallel with each other. And what I do also is I always make sure that whatever I'm doing, whatever task it is, however I'm processing something, or if I'm creating a process, there always has to be consistency in the way that we do it. And I say this so many times to people when I'm training people, right? It's left to right, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom, right? And when we start to have that consistency in whatever it is that we're doing, it starts to kind of mirror itself internally inside of us, right? And with the way our brain starts to work, right? Brain power. I love my brain. I love my brain. I spoil my brain big time. Like I love my brain. And the way that I do that is through automation, right? I can automate the most craziest things you could ever possibly think of. And what happens when you realize the power of automation, which is oftentimes beyond what people really think that it is, you start to realize all the other things that you can automate in your life and inside of your business, right? It's what is my brain thinking about while it's doing this, right? And 9 out of 10 times our brain is thinking, I hate this. I don't want to do this, right? And oftentimes what we do is we hire other people to do those things that we hate doing. But the way I think about it, because I've seen the other side of it, is that if my brain doesn't like it, nobody's brain's going to like it, right? So I'm going to automate that, and I'm going to figure out how to do that. You know, you can automate like elaborate things to run around the clock all by themselves, to the smallest things, right? Like one of the smallest things that I did recently was I didn't like putting phone numbers in my iPhone. I hated it. I hated every single time I had to do it. It caused my brain to say, I don't want to do this. I hate doing this, right? Like the red alert starts going off. And so what I automated was every time I put a phone number into my CRM, it goes into my iPhone and it also goes in the caller ID in my office. So doing different things like that. And when you realize just those like little things that you can do to make your brain have fun, right? To make your brain and kind of reserve that space for what really matters in our business, right? For that type of strategic thinking, right? Unfortunately, though, throughout all of that, it kind of makes you a little robotic yourself. So coaching really helped me to kind of slow down from that automated repetitive motions that were going on inside and outside of me, to really be able to verbalize myself and kind of excel myself to that next level. So I appreciate you guys and letting me share.
Oh, that's amazing. 3 cheers for automation. That's awesome.
I'm telling you, once you experience it, you'll never go back.
I agree with you, Angelina. Automation is energy. It's pretty much, I used to be one woman show in everything. And then I understood as an entrepreneur, there is a fine line between being an entrepreneur, which you have to be always innovative, creative, and also to build your business to the next level. That takes energy management. With that being said, you need to delegate and automate and not being the technician.
Right.
Technician is when you do everything on yourself and you're burning the energy that you don't need to.
Exactly.
You have to delegate and you have to automate it and make it as easier for others to take care of the same task that you were supposed to do, and keep that energy and store that energy that you need to innovate and to elevate the business. So that's actually
it's like we're the athlete, right, on the field, and we're the only athlete.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Stacy, maybe do you ladies run marathons? Have you ever run a marathon?
No.
Yeah, I did, and that's something I have learned very much energy wise, how you start and how you finish, because the journey is very challenging. So if you start so fast, you're burning up very fast. It's a fact, and you live it once you run a marathon. But when you pace yourself, you finish strong, because you know how to collect the energy to execute what needs to be done at the end of the day. So this subject, Stacy, you are amazing. You always come up with those amazing subjects that I hope he helps all the entrepreneurs out there, because they're major. They're really important to any businesses if you're building and really creating a legacy. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. This has just been such a joy. We love coming and we love sharing our wisdom with you. So thank you. And we will catch up with you guys next time. Okay, take care.
Thank you.